What's going on, guys? Welcome to the UFC Fight Night Overeem vs Harris preview show. I'm your host, Ryan Galloway, and joining me today is LowKick MMA site manager Jordan Ellis. How you doing, Jordan?
I'm good. Great night of fights again. I'm just glad they're back now. It's been much needed, so just to have all of them coming in, three events in 1 week, I'm hyped for it. Can't wait for Saturday either.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, actually, I don't think there's one on... Oh, sorry, Saturday's the one we're recapping now. My bad. I was thinking about the 23rd, just got moved to the 30th.
Oh,
You
so
didn't see
annoying.
that?
Just when you think you've got it, yeah, I see it. But when do you think you've got a nice little run of fights,
That's it.
and then you just keep changing things. Tyron Woodley must be so annoyed because his fights are getting moved every 2 minutes,
For
and
sure.
I think that's because they want to go back to Vegas. But I don't see the point. And what's the point? Just stay away from Vegas. Stay in Florida, and because they're the only people who want to let you, just give them the money.
Yeah,
Let
if
them
it's
do
not
it. But
broke, don't fix it, right?
yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah, but for now, recapping last night's events, it was a great card considering I weren't expecting too much from it, but it definitely delivered, and that's the great thing about UFC. Might not be chock full of big names, but anyone can put on a great fight. So happy to break it down right now.
Absolutely. I think we'll start with the biggest thing from the evening, which was definitely the main event and what happened there. Watching that fight, going into that fight, I thought Smith was going to just go through him. I thought there was no chance that Glover Teixeira had a possibility of winning. I thought Smith was the better fighter, the better athlete, and I thought he would just stomp him, but that was not the case at all. Beautiful performance by Glover Teixeira, and a bit of questionable corner work there for Smith.
Yeah, and it was poor all round from including the referee. I know people put pressure on the corners to stop the fight, but the referee's in there. That's what his job's to do as well. So he's up close. He's watching what's happening. He should also be making the call. But I don't want to focus too much on that. I want to focus on the actual fight itself. And Smith started as we thought he would start. He looked great. He couldn't miss with the right hand, and he's just pinging him for 1.5 rounds. And it kind of looked. It looked done. Looked like, oh, he's just going to keep hitting him with this right and eventually he'll fall over. But Glover just showed all kinds of heart. He was battling back. And it was just it was ridiculously dominant. It was almost just as surprising as just engaging against Tony Ferguson, where I didn't see that type of performance coming, and he just absolutely mauled him. It was hard to watch at times because Smith, everything about his body language said, I don't want to fight. He was curled up. He was just trying to stay away from it, but credit to him for staying in there. Last time we spoke, obviously, we were just speaking off camera, where I was saying I picked Smith big, and I thought I was like, all my money on Smith, but then I seen Texeira on the scales, and he looked amazing. He looks, that's the best Texeira I've ever seen on scales, the best Texeira I've ever seen in the cage, so I'm actually really hyped to see where he can go now. If he can just stop getting punched in the face so much, he can go all the way. He's just quite hittable.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, you go.
I do think that Smith was landing so much that he was putting all his chance of winning in getting a finish. He was searching for that finish, and that was what gassed him out. And that's why towards the end of the second round, he just looked super tired, he wasn't ready to go on. And I think a lot of that was the corner work, where they were yelling commands the whole time, like DC said on the commentary. But also, I think the plan going in must have been to get a finish. And when he realized that Teixeira just wasn't going away, I think that was a big problem for him.
I think he's probably heard what everyone else is thinking, that he should be finishing guys like that. When he's in his 40s now, he seems to be past his best. He's probably thinking, I just need to go in and finish him. I understand what DC's saying about the corner work. It was it was a lot and too much. But Anthony Smith's his own fighter, and he doesn't have to, he's not a robot. If he doesn't want to throw something, he doesn't have to throw something. Not everyone listens to everything the corner says. So he gassed out because he was throwing a lot, and he was having success. So why wouldn't he carry on throwing? It was just one of them things where Glover was able to eat it, come back with his own. He's always had the nice boxing, and he just hit him with that uppercut and then followed up, and from then it was just all downhill. I was just reading through the list of injuries and that Smith's come out with, and it's a few teeth have gone, his eyes cut, his orbital bone's done. He's a tough guy. Props for him for staying in there. It was a massive upset in my eyes. One thing I wanted to ask you about is, in terms of corner work, we've seen some bad corner work on Saturday, where Tony probably should have been pulled out, and I'm just thinking, who do you think was
The
more
worst
vulnerable?
corner?
Who should have been pulled out first?
I thought for sure Smith, because Smith like quit. In the third round he covered up, he balled up, and he looked like he was waiting for the ref to stop it or someone to stop it. And the only reason it kept going is because Teixeira wasn't throwing the ground and pound, and he was going for the choke. So Smith was defending. It looked like he was actively defending. But right before he started like defending the choke, he looked done. Like he looked like he had quit, and the ref didn't call it. He's got beaten up more. His corner obviously didn't stop it between rounds. So I think, and also he started getting battered in the third round, and it went on till a minute into the fifth or whatever. Tony was a little different because Tony never really got dropped. I think he got dropped once, maybe, like fully dropped where his legs came out. I don't think he ever crashed to the ground at any point. He kept standing. He was getting battered, like he was getting hit a lot, and he was obviously taking damage. But I don't think he was showing the damage the way Smith was. Well, I mean, Tony didn't cover up on the ground, so that's a big tell, you know. So I think the worst corner work in terms of who should have stopped it first, definitely Smith.
Yeah, I was tossing, going up and back and forth with this in my mind, just because even in the fifth round, I always fancied Smith could just uncork it, and he's got the power. Whereas compared to Tony was never winning that fight. At one point he weren't going to win it. So in terms of that, I thought Tony should have been pulled out earlier. But then, as you say, Smith, everything about Smith was just all wrong after he'd been taking that beating. His body language, he was covering up. There was so many times where he was just covering up, not doing anything. The referee should have stopped it there. So
absolutely.
I don't want to focus all on the corner because it weren't all about the corner. But that's just another thing. It's one of the worst things about MMA and UFC in particular is just no one pulls fighters out there, and you just see people getting beaten that they don't need to be taken. And is Smith going to come back the same fighter? Is he going to be able to get back to challenging John Jones after suffering like so much damage? It's just one of them. So yeah, that's a big thing for MMA to just pick on. Like, learn from boxing, save someone for another day. Like the other month we seen Wilder get pulled out and he weren't happy about it, and he can shout and scream, but he's got a rematch with Fury if he wants it, and he can go again. You know, it's not the end of the world, especially in MMA. No one really cares about wins and losses that much, so pull the fighters out, but it just seems to never change. So it'd be actually good to get some coaches on, speak to them, and just see what the thinking is. I'm sure the fighters saying don't pull me out, but at some point you just gotta say, you know, we're just gonna pull you out. And also it could have something to do with the money. By pulling someone out, they're losing a win bonus, so you're taking money from their plate. Whereas in boxing, that's not how it works. So maybe people are a bit more, you know, quick with the towel. Yeah, but just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing, like you said, how will Smith return after this? What will it be like after taking all this damage? I think the biggest thing is going to find, well, I don't know if you'll find trouble with, but the biggest factor I would take from this is the mental. Like, that's got to be crushing to you, like, mentally, going out there and putting on the performance he did in the first 2 rounds, and then just having the tide turn so quickly. Yeah, I just imagine that's not the best for your mental, you know?
But he seems to be quite a thinker, Smith. He seems to like really ponder everything. He's really analytical. He does the commentary and he talks well. So things like that, he's not Diego Sanchez who's just going to go and get wiped out and then pop back and just be happy to go and do it again. He's going to be thinking about how much damage he's taken, how long he can do it for, things like that. So it's not good when you're trying to be the best in the world to have them thoughts on your mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, talking about great corners, Diego Sanchez, the best corner in the UFC. But yeah, the co-main event of the evening, for me, it was another fight that I predicted completely wrong. I thought OSP was going to come out there aggressive, and I thought he was going to put hands on him, take him down, work submissions. And for two rounds, probably better, of 3 rounds probably, he didn't do a lot. You know, very defensive, running away a lot. So what do you think of that?
I was saying to you last time we spoke, I just didn't know what was going to happen in this fight, and it was kind of they didn't know what was going to happen in the fight. Yeah. They were kind of just both winging it, and not everyone was unsure of everyone. Rothwell was cautious to jump in too much in case he got hit. OSP was literally turning his back and running away at times. It just seemed like he was a bit scared of Rothwell and the power. Like, if you're going to move up to heavyweight and you know, have a proper go. He just seemed like, I don't really want to fight a heavyweight, and I expect him to go back to 205 now. It was a good win for Rothwell though. that's 2 on the bounce now, and he earned that. It was a split decision, but it was clear to me anyway.
Same, I agree.
That he won that. He was dominant. He was doing everything he needed to do. OSP, if he was brave enough, OSP could have went and finished Rothwell there, but he just weren't brave enough. He was scared of the power, and that's just props to Ben Rothwell, really, because he's obviously hit him with something early, and he's thought, oh, I can't take that again. So props to Ben Rothwell. It's not OSP back down to 205. Rothwell onto the next one for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think the biggest issue was he respected Rothwell's power too much and just didn't do a lot. And he didn't look like he wanted to be there. Like the look in his eyes, even from the start of the fight, he just didn't look like he wanted to be there. Until he started landing, and he towards the end of the fight, towards the end of the 3rd round, when he started actually throwing some volume, that's when he kind of realized, I'm in a fight. Before that, it just looked like he didn't want to be there. He wasn't active. He was being very defensive. Like you said, respecting the power too much. It just wasn't a very entertaining fight. And for it to be a split decision for me was crazy. I thought that was Rothwell all day.
All day, though. It just, the annoying thing about OSP is that when he was throwing, he clearly had the better power. Like he was able to knock Rothwell off balance, and he could, if he just committed to it. But it's easier said than done, us sitting here. But obviously, when you've got someone like Rothwell just standing in front of you trying to take your head off, it's not as easy. But it was frustrating to watch, just because I felt like all you need to do is sit down and throw. But obviously, it weren't that easy, and he just needed to get out of there and basically run away and go back to the 205 division, where I think he'll be a bit happier.
And I think in the broadcast they were saying that's what his plan was. This was just a one-off. They were going to see how he went at heavyweight, which I imagine they're not going to see again. And yeah, I think they were saying he was going to go straight back down to 205. But who would you like to see him face at 205? Because I'm not sure where he's ranked right now.
I think he's still in the mix. I think he's around top 10. He's never gone too far from that. I think anyone around there, Johnny Walker probably needs a fight, or it's just anyone who's looking for a fight, really. OSP's one of them guys. He's not going to get to a title, is he, right now? So it's about matching him with the right people and seeing. It's almost like Olenek, where you just match him with you test the best fighters or the best up and coming fighters against someone like OSP. If they get past OSP, they're onto something. If not, back to the drawing board. So that's how I see OSP now. So it's not really. It's about him helping bring through the next talents, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Well, the fight before that was the Alexander Hernandez versus Drew Dober, where Drew Dober showed up like I predicted. This is one I did predict on this card. I told you Drew Dober has serious power, and I knew that he was going to be trouble for Hernandez. Even though Hernandez has that real slick in and out striking style where he's in, he throws, and he's out. I think Dober was just the better man on the day and showed it beautifully. Got that bonus too.
Absolutely, he looked fantastic. I'm fully on the Drew Dober train now. He looked brilliant. He looked like a veteran in there. He looked like a veteran against a kid who's just not unsure. He was throwing bombs. He knew they were landing, and he just kept going for it. He was really calm in everything he did. Even when he was getting taken down, popped straight back up, put the pressure back on. It was a perfect performance, and now I'm excited because I think he's only about 30, so he could be hitting his peak, and we could be seeing like a next contender. I am excited now when someone hits that hard and he gets that reactions, and it's exciting. I'm excited to watch Dober, but just to reflect on Hernandez, I still rate him. I think he's gonna be a contender at some point, but he's got a lot to work on. He was too easy to hit. He got the takedowns, and then for some reason he's shook and he's trying to posture up. So I was just like, what are you doing? Just hold on for a little bit. But that's just the inexperience of youth, and he was just a bit eager to try and get his own stuff off all that comes. I think he's still got the great fundamentals to go and be a great lightweight. It's just back to the drawing board, go and work on your craft for now.
Well, that's what I thought. When he secured that takedown so early and he got it so easily, even when he was damaged later in the fight, he managed to get a takedown after getting hit. So he was getting the takedowns quite easily. I wasn't sure why he didn't just keep going back to that, because he really didn't try and wrestle. Aside from the one time he got the takedown, and then I think he had 2 stuffed, and then he got that one after he got damaged. But if I was in his corner, I would have been telling him to try and wrestle, because on the feet he was getting pieced up. So he obviously tries something else. He was getting successful takedowns. He should have just gone back to the wrestling. But, I don't think it would have helped him because Drew Dober really showed up and he really put on a performance. So, and he deserves that win. My question for you is, what do you do with an Alexander Hernandez now? Who do you give him?
I think you drop him right down in level. Obviously, he burst onto the scene with a late notice call and knocked out Benar Dariush. And while it's a brilliant win, it's not good for his career because now he's in with the top 10 straight away. He's mixing with the beast, and he hasn't really had that steady progression up the UFC. So I just take him right back to the start and just put him in with the lower level guys, get him a few wins, and he's still young. He's 27, 28. So just take your time, no rush. He doesn't need to be fighting any monsters right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's going off. That's right. You turn it back on. I'll just cut this in the recording.
Oh, okay. Is it back on now?
It's back on now. So on the other side of that coin, what do you do with someone like Drew Dober now? I mean, he's had 2 great wins over big prospects. So what do you do with him now? Do you give him a step up in competition, like a top 10 guy, or do you keep him in that top 10 to 15? Maybe give him someone like, what's that guy Kevin Lee knocked out? Gregor Gillespie, someone like that?
It's someone around that level. I think he's probably going to be ranked number 15 when the new rankings come out. So anyone above him's good. And I'm excited to see how he does. Because he's mixing with some killers, lightweights as tough as it gets in all of MMA. It's probably the most stacked division. So he's got just anyone in that division is going to be fun. But Gillespie's a good shout. But anyone really.
Yeah, the other one that comes to mind is the Islam Makhachev. Is that his name? Yeah, that's another one. He's around the same. I think he's 13 or something. So someone around there. I don't think you give him a top 10 guy. I think that's a bit of a stretch at the moment. You're gonna maybe 10 to 15. If he gets past that, like in the performance that he did tonight, then you give him a top 10 guy. But yeah, he's a big prospect, and I'm excited to see what he does next. Was there anyone else on the card you wanted to touch on? Anything else there?
So Ricky Simone, that was actually a really good fight, and it was probably one of my favourite fights of the night. I think both fighters turned up and gave everything they had. Simone was really impressive with his wrestling. He was I think he got 7 takedowns, and he weren't able to secure them and do much with them. Well, he kept getting them, and he was relentless with them. And then Borg just had such nasty boxing. He was ripping in body shots, and that was a deserved split decision because they both fought really well. I thought Simone edged it, and I'm glad to see him get that high profile win because he's talented enough. So to see someone like that on the back of 2 losses, it kind of doesn't really make sense. So yeah, he scraped through that. On the undercard, I like quite a few of the fights. I just want to run through them because Arlovski, although he won and he beat someone really good, I still weren't that impressed. For me, if you lose Arlovski, it's more because what you don't do than what he does.
Right.
So Lynn seemed to be really hesitant. He might have been UFC jitters, but he clearly was the better fighter. He had crisp hands, and if he just let them go, he would have won. So it always frustrates me when Andreevsky wins because it's always someone else not doing enough, and it's he doesn't knock anyone else anymore. He just seems to get by people, and it's really frustrating. I hope Lynn comes back and looks a bit more brave. He was someone like OSP who looked a bit scared to throw at times, so hopefully he comes back.
Yeah, a big takeaway from that fight that I had was, after reading, I'm reasonably sure Linz was a PFL champion from last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for him to be the top of that, what's the word I'm looking for? Organization. For him to be like the top level heavyweight of that organization, if you're Arlovski, you're probably thinking, maybe it's time for me to make the jump to PFL or something like that, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't say a lot for PFL. The fact that he lost to Arlovski, I don't want to be too harsh, but it's and he just had the you could see he was the better fighter. He had the hands, and he was just trying to be a bit too cute with it. He was just waiting for the perfect shot. And with Arlovski, you've seen how you've got to beat Arlovski. You've got to go in and hit him with power and make him take the power, and then he won't want it anymore. But if you're just standing there trying to tippy tap with him, it's not gonna work. So disappointed in Linz, but still excited to see him come again, and because I think he can still be great. It's just that way in a great performance, and there's a lot to work on.
No, I agree. And just going back up to the Ray Borg versus Ricky Simon or whatever fight. Anyway, that one, I was really impressed with Ray Borg because I go into this thought that Ricky Simon was just going to plow through him. I thought this was going to be an easy night out for him. But Ray Borg's boxing looked crisp. He looked really good. Mm-hmm. I do think Ricky Simon won. Like, I would have given it to him. But, yeah, I was very impressed with Ray Borg's performance in that one.
Yeah. Ray Borgs, he's no slouch. He's being in with the best, and he mixes it. It was one of them where anyone could have won that. I did edge Simone, but Ray Borg was so impressive, and he was landing so clean. Like at some points when you just covered, like one of them, covering your eyes because Simone was getting hit with bombs, and you're just like waiting for him to like fall to them. Alistair on the card. Did you see Benitez's leg? Did you see us shin when it was all smashed in?
I'll be honest with you. I went to get breakfast when that fight was on. I come back right as the verdict's been read, and I just see the big gash on his shin. That was amazing.
That's all you need to see, to be fair. And then obviously, just to start off the card, we'll just go right back. No problem. Chase Sherman, he returned, and I'm a big fan of Chase Sherman because he's always in fun fights, and this time he just looked good. He just looked so crisp. He had the better of his man. He was dominant, and I like having guys like him because he's at some point he might get caught, but while he's in that fight, it's always fun. So very, very glad to have Chase Sherman back in the UFC, and heavyweight's not the most stacked, and he's still young, so let's see how far he can go. It'll be exciting no matter what.
Yeah, he definitely outclassed his opponent when I was watching that one. I don't even think there was a moment in that fight where he got damaged or anything. It was just dominance until he got a finish, right, in the second round.
Yeah, he finished it. It was just nice to watch though. He was doing some good stuff. He was just landing at will really, and it was good to watch. And then after that, you had Brian Kelleher against against Hunter Azor, and Kelleher's one of them guys. He's not top 5 or anything like that, but if you're gonna get past him, you're a good fighter, and it was a good test for Azor as an unbeaten fighter. It was a jumping level, and it was just one of them where if you're not ready for someone like Kelleher with that type of power, it was absolutely ruthless. I think he got the bonus too, didn't he? So just shout out to Kelleher because that was a brilliant finish. That.
Yeah, one other fight I'm completely just forgotten was that Michael Johnson performance where he looked so good in the first round. Like, he looked phenomenal. It was prime Michael Johnson. I've watched a few of his fights recently, and throughout all those performances I've watched recently, that was the best Michael Johnson I've seen. And then second round comes and just gets caught in that heel hook.
He's so annoying. He's so annoying to watch, Michael Johnson. Like, I've watched him all the way from The Ultimate Fighter, and even then, he was the favourite to win, and he didn't win against Jonathan Brookins. And it's just been the story of his career where he's got wins over Dustin Poirier and Tony Ferguson and Edson Barboza, but he's never been anywhere near a title shot. And he's so frustrating to watch because he's so brilliant at some points, and then the next minute he's just lost. Like against Justin Gaethje, he was battering Justin Gaethje, so he should have closed the show. I know Gaethje's tough, but it's so frustrating. I almost feel bad for Johnson because he must be so frustrated with himself losing fights like this because he's so talented, he's so good, he hits so hard, and I don't know what happens. He's kind of Kevin Lee style because Kevin Lee seems to be winning fights and then just lose, and it might be a mental thing. Or it'd be great to speak to these fighters and
ask them.
Dissect that type of thing because he knows. I'm sure we're not the only people saying this, and I'm sure we're not the first people to say it either. He's so frustrating to watch, and that's my overall feeling towards Michael Johnson's career. Is just he should have done so much more. Like, he literally knocked Dustin Poirier out cold. So how are you losing in these type of fights? I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like he's beating himself, It's like he's finding a way to lose. But
yeah, it'd be great to speak to. I'd love to speak to Michael Johnson because he's been up and down throughout his career. He's had a brilliant career, but I'm sure he feels like he's one of the best in the world. And for some reason, on fight night, it doesn't always show. Sometimes it does, but not enough.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else on that card you want to speak about before we get on to this weekend's?
No, I think that's everyone, isn't it? It's a good card, though. It's one of them where besides the top of the card, I weren't massively excited about other fights. But then that's as I was saying at the start, that's always the great thing with UFC, that you can you're not expecting much, and then people just show up and you have a great night watching it. So yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get the same on Saturday.
For sure. It was definitely a fight night. I mean, we had 249 the weekend before, so it was hard to compete with that, you know?
Yeah, it was just one of them. It was just a nice little treat for a Wednesday. It's just, you don't get them often. So, yeah, and at the top of the card, again, shout out to Glover. I think he's 40-41. Brilliant performance. And Smith just must be like, doesn't even know what's going on right now, because I can't believe he lost that.
Yeah.
I picked him so hard, but Glover just looked ripped to shreds. He's 40-year-old. He didn't look like your Romero. Like, I'm not saying that, but he looked amazing. So, yeah, props to him. I'm looking forward to see who they hand him next, to be fair.
Absolutely. So we'll get on to the next card, this weekend's card. And the first fight on the main card is Song Yadong versus Marlon Chito Vera. And going into this fight, it's a good matchup, I think. Marlon Chito Vera was meant to fight Ray Borg originally on the April 18th card, but then he was rebooked to this, and obviously Ray Borg was fought yesterday. So I wonder how his camp's changed from the 2 weeks he's had to prep for this, or however long it's been. It hasn't been very long. Because the styles are completely different. Ray Borg's usually a grappler. He likes his grappling, jiu-jitsu. What we saw, though, he has really good hands, so I guess that's similar. Song Yadong's not the best grappler. We saw him. Cody Stamen held him down all of the third round in their last fight. His grappling's it's good. It's like a decent level, but it's not his specialty or anything. Whereas I think Chito Vera's grappling is like his best attribute, And I think that's what he's going to want to do in this one, take it to the ground and work that grappling.
I think he's a great fighter. I love it when they match these like 2 up and comers. Like Son Yadong's 22, Vera's 27, and that's what I'm giving the edge to Vera for. I just think he's a bit more polished. He's a bit more ready for the next level, and that's why I think he'll win. I'm still a big fan of Son Yadong. I think he only lost that Stamen fight because he had a point deducted, or he drew it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he's clearly talented, because Stamen's a brilliant fighter as well. So he could win. I just edge towards Cheetah. I think he might just be a bit much. He'll just overwhelm him and things like that. And then, but for Son Yadong, he just goes away, works on his game. He's 22. He's already a beast. I'm sure he can go away and be a champion. It's just right now, and as you were saying, what's the preparation being like for both fighters? It's not ideal, is it? And I think they're both stepping up in weight, aren't they, as well? Or one of them is, at least. So
no, they're both 35s, or is it 45?
I think it's a 45.
Oh, right. Do you want to bring it up and have a look?
Yeah,
because they both fight at 35, so I don't know why they'd do it at 45 unless for some reason they can't make the weight.
Yeah, it's saying 45.
Yeah, right.
That is Wikipedia, though.
There you go.
Wikipedia,
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I edge towards Vera. I think that's potentially a fight on the night, though. I think both of them are so skilled, and you're just going to see 2 prospects going at it, and I think the older one will just get it. He'll just have a little bit too much.
Yeah, and I mean, in Vera's last fight against Andre Ewell, it was a performance of the night fight. He just dominated, and he showed how well-rounded he is. And if that same Chito Vera comes out, I think it's going to be a long night for Song Yadong.
Yeah, I do think it's a bit of a step up, though, from Ewell to someone like Yadong. I think Yadong, he's on the cusp, and he's very talented. He clearly hits hard, as we've seen. So it's not an easy night for Vera by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he'll just outgrind him, outwork him, just be a bit too smart.
Yeah, absolutely. The next fight on the card is Eric Anders versus something Jotko. I can't pronounce that. Maybe you can give it a go.
I think it's Christoph, isn't it? Christoph.
Yeah, right. I just looking at the word. I've never heard it said until right now. So.
Yeah, Christoph Jotko. It's kind of a perfect meeting where it's similar to the last fight, where they're not up and comers, but they're kind of on the same wavelength. They're both off 2 wins. It's a like a winner goes on and challenge and get a big fight next. 3 in a row at middleweight. It's not easy. So I'm picking Anders. I think he'll just edge him. I honestly don't have a clue about this fight. It's another one where it's like Rothwell OSP, where I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what happens. I just feel like Anders, he might just outwork him. He might just out hustle him. He might just get him on the cage and throw shots and things like that. I just see him being a busier fighter. How do you see it?
Well, I mean, Jocko's not an easy fight. He's got those big knockouts of Uriah Hall and that decision win over David Branch. So he's beaten some good guys, and I don't think it's going to... I think it's just going to be a striking battle, and I think he might have the slicker hands over Anders. So I think I favour him in this, because watching the Roundtree-Anders fight, if you got someone who's just a slick Muay Thai, like Thai boxing style, I think Anders struggles with that. So he did struggle with it that night. And yeah, so I'm not too sure on this fight, to be honest with you, but I think I'm going to take my friend Christoph Jotko. Decision, though. Well, decision. I think it's a decision, man.
One thing I want to point out, this is middleweight, so I much prefer Anders at middleweight. We spoke on the phone the other day, and he did sound like he's probably struggling at the weight, but he looks better. He's not undersized, and when he's losing at light heavyweight against Khalil Rancheri, that's, for me, I don't take much from that. He's a middleweight in my eyes, and that's where I want to see him. Right now, he's on the back of 2 wins. This is a tough fight, and it could go either way, but I just think he might just be a bit busy and out-hustle him on this one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the next one is probably the most interesting fight in the card, in my opinion, that I want to see, and that's Edson Barboza's jumped down to featherweight, and he's taking on Dan Ige. So I think the biggest factor... Is it Dan Ige? I think it's Dan Ige. The biggest factor in this fight is going to be the weight cut, I think. How does Barboza look at 45?
Yeah, well, as I was saying before, just before we started filming, we should really do these after the weigh-in, because it tells you so much. And this fight, I won't know my prediction truly until I see Barboza on the scale. I thought he's a big lightweight. He's definitely a massive featherweight. So he was ripped to shreds at lightweight. So I'm not really sure where this extra £10 is going to come off. So I'm interested to see that. If the Barboza that I know and I remember watching turns up, I've got him all day in this one. I think he'll have too much. He'll score a knockout win and probably do it quickly. Yeah. If he doesn't though, Danny Ig's a dangerous guy. He's on a 5-fight win streak. I just think this is a jump, and if Barboza is at that level, still at 145, he should win. But if Danny manages to finish him or knock him out or get a big win, then he's off to the races. Like, he's a big name now, and he can go and challenge anyone at featherweight. So it's the most intriguing fight on the card, which I'm looking forward to seeing, especially the weigh-in.
Yeah, I think the easiest way for Dan Ige to win would be to grapple with him, because Ige's got really good grappling, and we've seen Barboza struggle with grapplers in the past. And also, Barboza is a very technical striker. He's got great kickboxing or Muay Thai. So I think the best option for Dan Ige is to take him down and try and submit him. But like you were saying, there's not a lot of weight to come off him. So what's he going to look like at 45? Although I thought the same thing when Aldo went down to 135, and he didn't look good at the weigh-in. But the day after, in the cage, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, but Aldo, he was never the biggest 145. He's not Conor McGregor, who's sucking the life out of himself to get there. And Barboza, he is big. He's a big guy, but maybe a lot of it's muscle, and then he's sacrificing some muscle. But having the size advantage could help him with the wrestling, as you've said. We've seen him take him down sometimes and dominate on the mat. Having that size advantage over someone can oftentimes just mean that you can resist the wrestling of them. Obviously, we've seen Cormier try and take down John Jones down, and obviously he's levels above John Jones in terms of wrestling, but he can't do it because it's just the sheer size. So that could help him. It's all about the weigh-in for me. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses weight and goes straight back up to 155. But it'll be interesting. It's a weird time to try and cut weight as well. We're in the middle of a pandemic. No one's able to train properly, and he just thinks, oh yeah, I'll just cut £10. It's a weird one. Yeah, the cut would have been much easier, I could imagine, if he had a full gym and whatnot to do it in, rather than the portable saunas they have and the gym at the hotel, you know. But hopefully he makes the weight, because I'm really keen to see this fight. It would be a shame if it fell out because he couldn't make weight, or if it was like, what was that fight for yesterday? Marvin Vettori versus Roberson. Yeah. Roberson. And he missed weight, and that whole fight just fell off the card. So hopefully that doesn't happen with this one, because I'm really interested to see how this goes. I know, but it's actually quite sly on Vettori, because he lost his London fight as well, and then he's lost this one, and I don't know if they're paying him. I hope they're paying him,
Yeah,
because he's making the trip and he's doing all the work, and then people are just pulling out on him. So hopefully he gets a big fight soon.
absolutely. Well, the co-main of the evening is Claudia Gadelha versus Angela Hill. I cannot say names today, but that's okay. We're going to keep going. Claudia Gadelha should beat Angela Hill, I think. I think it should be a pretty easy matchup for her, and I think it'll be by decision.
I First thing first, I don't want to diss anyone, but I don't know why this fight's the co-main event. The two big fighters, but when you've got Egan Barboza and Yudong Vera, I don't really get why Barboza isn't main event, co-main event. Sorry.
Yeah.
But concentrating on the actual fight, I think Cadeo also gets it done. I think she is just gonna have a bit too much. I don't think Hill's ever beat anyone of this level. I think she's on a great little win streak right now, and she's on 3 in a row. But she's never been at this level. And Gadea's, she's legit title challenger. She's been in a couple of fights with Joanna. So I see her dominating the fight. Maybe getting the submission, probably getting the decision. But yeah, that's probably my pick of the night. I don't want to say all my money, because I said that last time Smith lost, but a lot of my money on that one.
Yeah, well, the thing is, she went to a decision with Joanna, so I can't see Angela Hill finishing her on the feet or anything. And on the ground, Claudia Gadelha is very, very good. She's a talented grappler. So I think neither of them really have finishes on their record. Most of their wins come by decision. So I just think it's going to go to decision. I think it's just going to be a dominant victory by Claudia Gadelha.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then the main event is Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris, which I believe was meant to be booked when Rosenstruck jumped in, whenever that was. It was meant to be Walt Harris versus Overeem, and then Rosenstruck jumped in and replaced Walt Harris because he had that stuff with his stepdaughter happen, sadly.
I don't know. It's sad, and it's just great to see him back in there and do like making something of it. Putting his energy to the right place. I actually think he's going to win. I actually quite rate him highly. His record's a bit patchy at the minute, but if you actually go back and look at what's been happening, he hasn't had a legitimate loss since losing to Doom in 2017. Like, he's had a DQ loss and one got overturned, like a win got overturned on him. So he's on a nice little streak, and no one's really, no one's beat him since Doom. So I'm edging towards Harris. I think he'll get the punch off and finish Overeem early. The longer the fight goes, the more Overeem's in it, and he can dominate it. He's another fighter who must be frustrated with himself, because he just knows he's got all this striking ability, but he realises right now that his chin's a bit compromised, and he needs to just focus on his grappling and staying at range and being smart. So yeah, I expect Harris to land early and get the finish.
Yeah, I think it's a very similar matchup, in my opinion, to the Rosenstruck Overeem matchup, where Walt Harris has to land that big shot, because Overeem over 5 rounds, as we saw in that last fight, he looks good until the last 10 seconds when he got clipped. He looks really good. He was dominating the fight. So I think the same thing could happen here today. But like you said, Walt Harris probably finds that big shot. I'm edging towards Walt Harris in this one as well, to probably gets a finish in the first 2. If it goes any later than that, I think Overeem probably just pieces him up to a decision.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to pull off a Rosenstruck and finish him late. I think he's going to struggle as the fight goes on. How much of a camp have these guys had? It's easier at heavyweight. There's no weight cutting, so you can turn up, fully out of shape. And it's always interesting as well to see these guys on the scale at heavyweight, to see how good they look. So I'll be looking forward to that. But yeah, Harris early, Overeem over 5 rounds, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, that's the card. Any other fights on the prelims or anything you want to touch on that one?
Not particularly. I think it is a main card heavy. I think this main card's better than probably what we got last night. There's at least 2 or 3. Like, obviously I was saying Gadelha against Hill is probably not co-main event worthy, but it's still a fight I'm really looking forward to watching, because I do think it's good to see how far Hill has come up, because she's got 3 in a row, but has she been facing a lower level opposition, or has she just improved? Well, guess we'll find out with that. And then obviously there's Barboza, who's quite intriguing. You've got the 2 youngsters fighting. So I actually rate this card a bit higher, although the main event isn't as
exciting,
as good as last night's.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you there. Before we finish this one off, I just want to ask you, what are your opinions on this Fight Island talk that we've got from yesterday, where Dana White was saying, I think he said 2 or 3 weeks, or it was like second week in June. It's not long until Fight Island. Do you think we get Fight Island, or do you think it's in the way distance?
No, it's soon. It's anything Dana says he's actively trying to do. So, I think that's just more about getting all the international fighters some fights at the minute. It's all American heavy, all people based in America. So there's just a load of talent just going missing. So as soon as you can get that set up, we'll have even more cards. And all the Americans keep saying they want to fight in Fight Island, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're going to see it very separated for a while anyway. Of European and everyone else fighting on Fight Island, because they haven't said where it is, but I'm guessing it's somewhere close to Europe, because that's where all the fights are going to be traveling from. Excited to see it. At every fighter you speak to, like I spoke to Anders the other day, and he was talking about fighting on Fight Island. Everyone's up for it. It's going to be interesting to see the actual image of, is it literally on a beach? Is it a fight on a beach? Because it's going to look crazy. It just adds a new dimension to everything that's going on right now.
I agree. And while we're on current events, the other thing I wanted to touch on was on Twitter today. Francis Ngannou and John Jones had a little back and forth. What do you think of that? Does that happen this year?
I seen John Jones speaking that, like, when he was watching OSP, he was like, it's like I'm imagining myself in this fight, and if he's imagining himself in that fight, that it's not a good example to go off, because OSP isn't too much smaller than John Jones, and OSP was, not looking great against all respect to Ben Roethlisberger. He's not a top heavyweight, no. So that's not a good fight to go off. John Jones has got to just jump up, and if he's going to be watching these light heavyweights go first, they're not going to do as well as he's going to do. I think it'll happen primarily at the end of John Jones' career, just for money. It'll just be like a money fight, and I think he knows it's not really smart on paper to be fighting Francis. Size is his main advantage, and he'd be sacrificing that. So, yeah, he'll fight him, not anytime soon, and not until he's ready to cash out, and not until the UFC are ready to pay him the money he deserves for that fight.
Which one do we get first? Adesanya versus Jones, or Ngannou versus Jones?
Adesanya. I think Jones is smart. I think the fighters who tend to stick at their own weight class and fight and go on big streaks are the smart fighters, because it is the smart thing to do is to stay and beat guys who are smaller than you. So Jones will be welcoming Adesanya, and he'll just be like, although height difference isn't there, actual size, Adesanya's quite a skinny guy, so I think he'd be quite happy to take that fight, definitely over Ngannou.
All right, is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this one up?
No, it's been good to speak to you again, and
yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to Saturday, and we'll do another one soon.
For sure. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll speak to you Monday.